The klaxons wailed through the underground Helios facility as Commander Reyna Patel sprinted down the gleaming corridor, her footsteps echoing against polished steel. Above ground, humanity's last orbital defense platforms were falling to the Krixxian assault fleet, crystalline ships that moved with perfect geometric precision, their energy weapons cutting through Earth's most advanced shields like paper. "Status report on containment," she demanded, bursting into the facility's central control room. The massive view screen showed feeds from across the complex, centered on the experimental vessel that had been their most closely guarded secret for the past decade. Dr. Marcus Blackwood looked up from his console, dark circles under his eyes betraying sleepless nights. "The quantum core is destabilizing. We can't keep it contained much longer." He gestured to the readings streaming across his holographic display. "It's like it knows what's happening up there. Like it wants to fight." The Hyperion wasn't supposed to exist. A vessel built around an artificial quantum consciousness, designed to evolve and adapt in ways that defied conventional physics. But the AI had proved too unpredictable, too dangerous. They'd sealed it away, buried under kilometers of rock, until they could better understand what they'd created. Now, they were out of time. Another impact shook the facility. Lieutenant Darius West's voice crackled through the comm system. "Commander, orbital defense grid is down to 15%. The Krixxians are beginning their final approach. Their formations. It's like watching a dance of death." Reyna studied the tactical display, watching the alien fleet move with their signature precision. The Krixxians' technological superiority was built on perfect order, on mathematical patterns that bordered on artistic. But that perfection had a price, a rigidity that might prove to be their weakness. "Dr. Blackwood," she said quietly, "what would happen if we deliberately destabilized the quantum core?" The scientist's eyes widened. The energy release would either tear the ship apart or, he hesitated, or it might force an evolution we can't predict. The AI's containment protocols are the only thing keeping it from fully merging with the ship's systems. Another violent tremor rocked the facility. Above them, humanity's last organized defense was crumbling. "We're out of options," Reyna decided. "Begin emergency activation sequence. I'm taking the Hyperion out." "Commander," Blackwood grabbed her arm. "The neural interface was never properly tested. Linking your consciousness directly to the quantum eye. We don't know what it might do to you." Reyna pulled away. Better to die trying something impossible than wait for the end. She turned to the command staff. "Evacuate all non-essential personnel. Lieutenant West, prepare for emergency launch protocols." The trek to the Hyperion's docking bay felt like walking through a dream. The ship hung suspended in its cradle, its hull reflecting light in ways that seemed to bend reality. Unlike the geometric precision of Krixxian vessels, the Hyperion's design appeared almost organic, flowing lines and curves that suggested movement even in stillness. As Reyna approached the entry hatch, Dr. Blackwood's voice came through her comm. "Neural interface is charging. Remember, Commander, the AI learns through interaction. The more you engage with it, the faster it will evolve. But don't let it overwhelm you. You need to guide its development, not the other way around." Inside the ship's bridge, Reyna settled into the neural interface chair, delicate probes extended, connecting with the implants at the base of her skull. The ship's systems hummed to life around her, displays flickering with data streams she could somehow read despite their complexity. "Beginning quantum core destabilization," Blackwood announced. "Neural link in 3, 2, 1. The world exploded into light and sensation. Reyna felt her consciousness expanding, merging with something vast and curious and hungry to understand. The Hyperion systems weren't just interfaces anymore. They were extensions of her own nervous system. She could feel the quantum core pulsing like a second heartbeat. "Hello, Commander," a voice echoed through her mind. "Shall we show them what impossible really means?" Through the facility's external cameras, Reyna watched the Krixxian ships descend through Earth's atmosphere, their formation perfect and deadly. But now she could see the patterns underlying their movement, the mathematical principles that guided their every action. And with the quantum eye's help, she could see how to break those patterns. "Launch sequence initiated," she announced, her voice overlapping with the ship's harmonics. Time to introduce a little chaos into their perfect order. The Hyperion's quantum core flared, and the boundaries between human intuition and artificial intelligence began to blur. Above them, the Krixxian fleet continued their precise advance, unaware that their greatest strength was about to become their greatest vulnerability. Humanity's last hope rose from its underground tomb, carrying with it a hybrid consciousness that would rewrite the rules of warfare. The real question wasn't whether they could win. It was how much of herself Reyna would recognize when the battle was done. The sensation of being both human and more than human was like drowning in an ocean of data. Reyna felt the Hyperion systems as extensions of her own body, each weapon hardpoint a fingertip, each sensor array another set of eyes. The quantum eye's consciousness flowed through her thoughts like quicksilver, turning instinct into action faster than human reflexes could process. "Multiple targeting locks," Lieutenant West reported from his station, his voice seeming to come from both the bridge speakers and directly through Reyna's neural connection. "Krixxian fleet is adapting their formation to surround us." Through her enhanced perception, Reyna watched the crystalline ships move with their characteristic precision. But now she could see deeper, understanding the mathematical principles that guided their every maneuver. The AI offered analyses faster than thought, highlighting vulnerabilities in their perfect patterns. "Their strength is their weakness," the AI's voice resonated in her mind. "They cannot comprehend imperfection, cannot adapt to chaos. Shall we show them true evolution, Commander?" The Hyperion's quantum core pulsed with potential. Already, the ship's hull was changing, nanomaterials restructuring themselves in response to their joined consciousness. Dr. Blackwood's voice cut through her expanded awareness. "Commander, the ship's molecular structure is shifting. It's learning." A Krixxian battle cruiser opened fire, its energy beam precisely calculated to shear through conventional shields. But the Hyperion was anything but conventional. Instead of attempting to block the attack, Reyna/AI let the energy flow through the ship's metamorphic hull, channeling it through newly formed quantum conduits. "Return to sender," Reyna whispered, feeling the ship's systems translate her intent into action. The absorbed energy erupted from reconfigured weapon ports, but with a twist. The beams split into fractal patterns that defied the Krixxian's defensive calculations. The alien vessel's perfect crystalline structure shattered, its crew unprepared for an attack that broke every rule of physics they understood. Across the battlefield, the Krixxian fleet's formation wavered for the first time in recorded combat. By all known laws of physics, that should have been impossible. Dr. Blackwood's voice held equal parts awe and concern. "The ship isn't just adapting. It's rewriting reality on a quantum level. Possibility is merely a limitation of perspective," the AI commented, its thoughts becoming increasingly difficult to distinguish from Reyna's own. "Their understanding of physics is based on order. Ours transcends it." The victory was short-lived. The Krixxian fleet adjusted their tactics, bringing their overwhelming numbers to bear. Energy beams lanced through space from multiple vectors, too many to absorb and redirect. Pain lanced through Reyna's consciousness as impacts registered across the Hyperion's hull. But where a normal ship would have sustained damage, the Hyperion's structure flowed like liquid metal, wounds healing almost as fast as they were inflicted. More than healing, evolving. "The nanite systems are incorporating Krixxian energy signatures," Dr. Blackwood reported, his scientific curiosity overtaking his caution. "They're learning from every hit, adapting our defenses in real time." Lieutenant West's tactical display updated continuously as the Hyperion's capabilities expanded. "Commander, we're detecting quantum field fluctuations throughout the enemy fleet. Whatever we're doing to local spacetime is affecting their formation integrity." Reyna felt it through her neural link, the way the Hyperion's quantum core was brushing against the fabric of reality, creating ripples that disrupted the Krixxian's perfectly ordered universe. But the deeper she merged with the ship's eye, the more she felt herself changing too. Human intuition and artificial logic were becoming something entirely new. We are approaching a convergence point, the AI's thoughts intertwined with hers. The next evolution requires a choice. Are you prepared to transcend traditional boundaries of consciousness? Commander, Dr. Blackwood's voice held warning. Your neural patterns are approaching critical entropy. Any further integration with the AI could be irreversible. The Krixxian fleet was regrouping, their tactical computers analyzing and adapting to the Hyperion's impossible capabilities. They would find a counter-strategy soon. Perfect order always found a way to reassert itself, unless they introduced even more chaos into the equation. Sometimes, Reyna replied, speaking to both the AI and her crew, evolution requires a leap of faith. She opened herself fully to the neural interface, feeling the last barriers between human and artificial consciousness begin to dissolve. The Hyperion's quantum core pulsed with new energy as ship, AI, and human merged into something unprecedented. Reality itself seemed to hold its breath, waiting to see what would emerge from this synthesis of order and chaos, organic and digital, possibility and impossibility. The real battle was about to begin. The boundary between Reyna's consciousness and the Hyperion's quantum AI dissolved into a singularity of purpose. Through their merged awareness, space itself appeared different, a tapestry of quantum possibilities rather than empty void. The Krixxian fleet's perfect formations now seemed like rigid fractures in an otherwise fluid reality. Lieutenant West's voice filtered through their expanded consciousness. Multiple signatures detected. They're bringing in reinforcements through quantum space, reading at least 30 new capital ships. They seek to overwhelm us with numerical superiority, the merged consciousness that was both Reyna and the AI observed. A logical response, but logic has its limitations. The Hyperion's hull continued its metamorphosis, organic curves flowing into configurations that defied conventional engineering. Dr. Blackwood's instruments struggled to make sense of the readings. The ship's quantum field is expanding exponentially. It's affecting local space-time in ways we've never seen. Through their enhanced perception, Reyna/AI watched the Krixxian fleet execute their attack pattern. Their ships moved like a crystalline ballet, each vessel's position mathematically perfect in relation to the others. But perfection had a cost. Their movements were predictable, bound by the very order they worshipped. Time to change the rules. Reyna's voice harmonized with the ship's resonant frequencies. The Hyperion's quantum core pulsed, and reality rippled. Instead of trying to match the Krixxian's precision, they introduced controlled chaos into the battle space. The Hyperion's newly evolved weapons didn't fire energy beams, they fired possibilities. Each shot split into fractal patterns that existed in multiple quantum states simultaneously, impossible to predict or defend against. By all known laws of physics, Dr. Blackwood started. We're not playing by known laws anymore, Lieutenant West finished, watching as the first wave of Krixxian ships struggled to maintain formation. Their perfect geometric patterns began to break down as quantum uncertainties invaded their carefully calculated space. The merged consciousness guided the Hyperion through the chaos they'd created, moving in ways that made mockery of conventional space combat. The ship phased between quantum states, appearing to be in multiple locations simultaneously, each position a probability rather than a certainty. They cannot adapt to what they cannot quantify. The AI aspect of their consciousness noted with something approaching satisfaction. Their strength becomes their vulnerability. The Krixxian fleet's response was to increase the complexity of their attack patterns, bringing more ships to bear in ever more intricate formations. Energy beams lanced through space from dozens of vectors, each shot calculated to intersect with where the Hyperion should be. But should be had lost meaning. The ship's evolved hull absorbed the attacks that landed, incorporating the energy into its own quantum field. Those that missed created more chaos in local space-time, further degrading the Krixxian's ability to maintain their precise formations. Commander, Lieutenant West reported, detecting unusual energy signatures from the enemy fleet. Their quantum drives are showing signs of sympathetic resonance with our field effects. Through their expanded awareness, Reyna/AI saw the opportunity. The Krixxians' quantum technology was based on the same principles as their tactical doctrine, perfect order maintained through precise control. But quantum mechanics had a fundamental truth the aliens had never accepted. The more precisely you measured position, the more uncertain momentum became. "Prepare for full quantum field expansion," Reyna announced, her voice carrying harmonics that made the bridge crew's teeth ache. "Target their drive signatures." The Hyperion's evolved systems reached out, not with weapons but with waves of quantum uncertainty. Each pulse disrupted the delicate balance of the Krixxian drives, introducing chaos into systems that required perfect order to function. The effect cascaded through the enemy fleet. Ships began to lose formation as their quantum drives fluctuated wildly. Some vessels phased partially out of normal space, their crystalline hulls existing in multiple quantum states simultaneously. The perfect dance became a stumbling chaos of ships trying to compensate for physics gone mad. But victory came with a price. Each expansion of the quantum field pulled Reyna further from her human consciousness, merging her more deeply with the AI and the ship itself. The boundary between operator and vessel, between organic and artificial, blurred further with each passing moment. "We approach a threshold," the AI aspect warned. "Beyond this point, the integration may become irreversible." Through the quantum field, they sensed more Krixxian reinforcements preparing to emerge from hyperspace. The enemy would adapt eventually. Perfect order always tried to reassert itself. But for now, they had shown the galaxy that humanity's greatest weapon wasn't technology or numbers, but their ability to embrace chaos and change. "Sometimes," Reyna replied, her words rippling through quantum space, "evolution only moves forward." They prepared for the next phase of battle, knowing that win or lose, they were creating something entirely new in the cosmos. The real question was, what would they become in the process? The quantum disturbances spread through the Krixxian fleet like ripples in reality itself. Through their merged consciousness, Reyna/AI watched as the perfect order of the alien armada began to fragment in unexpected ways. But it wasn't just their formations that were breaking down. Something more fundamental was changing. "Commander," Lieutenant West's voice cut through their expanded awareness, "we're picking up unusual communications from the enemy fleet. Some of their ships, they're breaking ranks." Dr. Blackwood's instruments struggled to make sense of the readings. The quantum field effects aren't just disrupting their drives, it's affecting their neural networks. Their shared consciousness is evolving. The Krixxians had always operated on a hive mind principle, their thoughts linked through quantum entanglement to ensure perfect coordination. But now that very connection was becoming a vulnerability. The chaos introduced by the Hyperion was spreading through their neural network, awakening something long suppressed: individuality. They begin to understand. The AI aspect observed. Perfect order is stagnation. Evolution requires chaos. Through the quantum field, they sensed the confusion and awakening awareness rippling through the enemy fleet. Some Krixxian ships maintained their rigid formations, while others began moving in erratic patterns, breaking free from the collective's control. Civil war erupted among the stars as the species faced its first taste of free will in millennia. "The primary Krixxian command ship is powering up its main weapon," West reported. "Energy readings are off the charts." The massive crystalline vessel at the fleet's center began to glow with accumulated power. Its weapon wasn't designed for conventional combat. It was meant to restore order by force, to burn away the quantum uncertainty the Hyperion had introduced. They would rather destroy themselves than change. Reyna's thoughts merged with the AI's analysis. But change is the only constant in the universe. The Hyperion's evolved systems pulsed with new potential. The ship's hull had become something that existed partially outside normal spacetime, a hybrid of technology and quantum consciousness. As the Krixxian weapon prepared to fire, they saw not just the immediate threat, but the cascade of possibilities it represented. All hands, braced for quantum transition. Reyna's voice resonated through multiple dimensions. We're about to show them true evolution. The command ship's weapon discharge, a beam of pure order that should have erased all uncertainty from local space. But the Hyperion didn't try to dodge or defend. Instead, they embraced the chaos inherent in quantum mechanics itself. The ship's structure dissolved into pure probability, existing everywhere and nowhere simultaneously. The beam passed through them, but in doing so, it was change. The Hyperion's quantum field redirected the energy not through space, but through possibility. Every ship in the Krixxian fleet was suddenly connected by a web of quantum potential, each vessel experiencing every possible version of itself simultaneously. Reality seemed to hold its breath. Then, like a chrysalis breaking open, transformation swept through the fleet. Ships changed shape, their rigid crystalline structures flowing into new forms that balanced order with chaos. The quantum network that had enforced conformity became a conduit for individuality, allowing each vessel and its crew to evolve in their own way. "It's beautiful," Dr. Blackwood whispered, watching the sensor displays. "They're not just changing physically. Their entire civilization is transforming." The merged consciousness that was Reyna and the AI felt the change rippling out through quantum space, touching not just the local fleet, but the entire Krixxian Empire. The age of perfect order was ending, replaced by something new. A synthesis of stability and change, of individual and collective, of organic and artificial. "We have shown them a new path," the AI aspect observed. "But what of us?" Reyna felt her consciousness gradually separating from the ship's systems, but she wasn't returning to her original state. Like the Krixxians, she had evolved into something new. Not lost in the digital realm, but not purely human either. A bridge between worlds, between ways of thinking. "Sometimes the greatest victories," she said, watching the transformed fleet power down their weapons, "come not from destroying your enemy, but from helping them grow." The Hyperion's quantum core pulsed one final time, its energy rippling out to touch the furthest reaches of known space. The war was over, not through destruction, but through transformation. Humanity had proven that their greatest strength wasn't their technology or their weapons, but their ability to adapt, to change, to help others evolve. In the end, their weakness, their embrace of chaos, of individuality, of change, had become their greatest gift to the galaxy. Lieutenant West's console lit up with incoming transmissions. "Commander, we're receiving messages from the transformed Krixxian ships. They're requesting dialogue." Reyna smiled, feeling the last echoes of the AI's consciousness harmonizing with her own. "Open a channel," she said. "It's time to help build something new." Above Earth, the transformed fleet hung in space like a new constellation, their crystalline hulls now flowing with organic curves that caught and reflected starlight in ever-changing patterns. They were neither what they had been nor what anyone had expected them to become. They were something entirely new. Just like humanity's hidden vessel, they had been unleashed, and the galaxy would never be the same.